As a motor coach or transit bus driver, you log thousands of hours and thousands of kilometers or miles at the wheel every year. Motor coach tours can cross international borders, so you must be aware of local laws and signs that alert you to potential hazards. Transit bus operators have a tough schedule to keep, usually in a busy urban environment. It's a demanding job requiring all your skills as a driver. On any given day, the lives of hundreds of people are your responsibility. Your passengers and their families are depending on you to keep them safe and get them to their destination on time, in spite of traffic or weather conditions. You must be aware of all the potentially dangerous situations that might arise. One situation that can have the most tragic consequences is a collision between a bus and a train. It's a confrontation that you and your passengers are guaranteed to lose. At the same time, these incidents are completely preventable if you follow the basic rules outlined in this presentation. Operation Lifesaver Canada and Operation Lifesaver Incorporated, working in collaboration to save lives, present The Bus Stops Here, Highway Rail Safety for Motor Coach and Transit Drivers. This is an educational program that will give you the information you need to avoid highway rail crossing incidents. Because this video is intended for use in Canada and the United States, we will use both metric and US units of measurement. We will also use working terms from both countries. They will mean the same thing in each example. First of all, be aware of the following warning signs placed near a highway railway crossing. Usually the first sign you will see will be a diamond-shaped or round yellow warning sign. There might also be pavement markings painted on the road surface. Both indicate the same thing: prepare to stop, look, and listen. Two-lane roads may be posted with a no passing sign. As you approach the tracks, you will notice another important sign: the crossbuck. Every public highway railway crossing is marked by crossbucks on both sides of the tracks. Some of them have gates, lights, and bells. Most of them just have crossbucks. In urban areas, there is another kind of crossing when a light rail or trolley car track runs down a street and crosses another street. You won't see a crossbuck at these crossings if the train movements are controlled through the red, yellow, and green traffic lights. Any way you see it, it means the same thing. A train may be approaching, so be prepared to stop and yield to an oncoming train. If there is more than one set of tracks, the sign below the crossbuck will tell you the number of tracks you will be going over. Remember, a train could be coming from either direction on either track. There is one other sign that you may encounter. This warning sign with the word exempt means that by law, you do not have to come to a full stop at the railroad grade crossing. You must be aware of state, provincial, or federal laws or company policy. They may require you as a motor coach or transit bus driver to come to a full stop at highway railway crossings whether there is a stop sign or not. So here's the suggested procedure to follow when you reach the crossing. When approaching the crossing, activate your four-way flashers as you begin to slow down to warn other motorists that you're stopping. If you're on a multiple lane highway, don't make the stop in the center or left-hand lanes. Stay in the right lane. Look for a stop line. If there is no stop line, you must stop no closer than 15 feet or 5 meters from the closest rail. Whenever possible, open your door and window and listen for a train. Engineers may sound the train's horn as they approach a crossing. Some companies may have procedures against opening doors close to the tracks. Follow your company procedures. The driver may be instructed by company policy to perform additional established control or steps while stopped at a highway railway crossing. Be sure to look both ways, as a train could be coming from either direction. When you are sure that the tracks are clear, then you can proceed. If you are at a crossing with multiple tracks, use extra caution. Do not proceed until the lights and bell have stopped, the train has passed, or until you can do it safely. If there is more than one track, make sure all the tracks are clear before crossing. Remember, trains could be coming from either direction. If your company policy allows you to pick up or drop off passengers between scheduled stops, remember the rule: never stop closer than 5 meters or 15 feet from the nearest rail. If the signal lights, bells, or gates are operating as you approach the crossing, you must stop. Do not try to go around the gates. A train is close. You and your passengers may not survive the consequences if you're hit. If you are caught and convicted of running the warning signals, you could face harsh legal penalties and you may lose your license and your job. This footage graphically demonstrates the massive impact that a train has when colliding with a bus. Most people on this bus would have been at least severely injured. Passengers sitting in the area of impact would likely have been killed along with the driver. There are many types of buses on the road. If your job requires you to drive a variety of different vehicles, it is very important that you are aware of the vehicle characteristics on each and every trip. Lengths will vary, so it's important to know your bus. It is information that you need to know when approaching a crossing. Some drivers may even drive 2 different types of buses in a day, so we can't stress enough, know your bus. Here's a scenario that will explain why. A signal light or stop sign is backing up traffic on the other side of the tracks, and you can't tell if you have enough room to get across without at least part of your bus being on the track. Don't get caught. Always look ahead. Make sure there's enough space for your bus if you have to stop, and be sure to factor in enough space for the overhang from both your bus and the train. Don't get caught on the tracks. If it won't fit, don't commit. If you are driving a standard transmission, it is illegal to shift while going over the tracks in case you stall the bus. Penalties for not obeying the law include stiff monetary fines, demerit points on your license, or both. In addition to knowing the details of your vehicle, you should also know your route. Study where the rail crossings are located so that you can anticipate your need to stop. This will also help you avoid being surprised by a crossing when driving at night or in bad weather. It is possible for a bus to drive into the side of a moving train at a railroad grade crossing. This can happen at night or during snowstorms, fog, or heavy rain. Just one more reason why you should know your route before you start out. It is easy to misjudge a train's speed and distance from the crossing. Because of the train size and your perspective as it comes toward you, it appears to be moving much more slowly than it actually is. Whether you drive highway or an urban transit route, you are responsible for keeping to the schedule. Just remember that highway railway crossings are no place to try to make up time if you're running behind. Safety first, schedule second. As we mentioned earlier, light rail or trolley cars may not have crosswalks to identify a rail crossing. They will have other warning and information signs. If the crossing is controlled by the red, yellow, and green traffic lights, you may not be required to make your standard safety stop. Know your routes and the local regulations. When in doubt, make your safety stop. It is the safest thing to do. Here is what to do if your bus stalls or is disabled on a crossing. You must evacuate your passengers immediately, even if the warning bell and gates are not operating. Look around and quickly decide on a spot where everyone is to meet once they are off the bus. Follow any established company evacuation procedures. Take charge, speak loudly, and clearly indicate where you want the passengers to assemble away from the bus. Remember, in a collision, the train will probably push the bus down the tracks. You should have the passengers walk in the direction the train is approaching, but at a 45-degree angle to avoid being hit by debris. Pick a meeting spot at least 50 meters or 150 feet from the bus. Otherwise, meet at an accessible spot the proper distance away from the track. Keep everyone calm. Ask able-bodied passengers to assist others who need help getting off the bus. Railway-grade crossings in Canada and the United States have an emergency 1-800 number posted either on the back of the crossbuck, a pole, or a nearby equipment shed. Call the number immediately and tell the operator your situation. Give the crossing identification number or mileage point that will also be posted on the sign. If there is no emergency number posted, call 911 or your local emergency number and report your location and situation. Remember to call your dispatch or control center and tell them what is going on according to your procedures. Don't use the radio on the bus. You may drive the biggest bus on the road with a long stopping distance. But remember, regardless of how long it takes you to stop your vehicle, it's nothing compared to how long it takes to stop a train. An average train running 100 kilometers or 60 miles per hour can take up to 2 kilometers or over a mile to stop in an emergency situation. As a rule, by the time the train crew sees anything blocking the crossing, it's too late to stop short of the obstruction. And forget about trying to run down the tracks to flag down a train. It will never be able to stop in time before it gets to the crossing. As a professional driver, you are responsible for making choices that will prevent incidents, protect lives, and prevent damage to vehicles and property. Here are the key points to remember about highway rail crossing safety. Know your bus. Know your route. Know the dangers and never take any chances. Most of all, remember, any time is train time. Always expect a train at a crossing from either direction. If you follow these guidelines, you know all train and bus incidents will be preventable. National, provincial, state, or local laws and regulations governing bus driver actions at highway railway crossings may vary. Please check policies in the areas that you work to be sure that you are in compliance at all times.